Namaskar. Welcome to Vision of Asia, a voice of community on ITV Gold. In this edition, we have part of conversation with India's Foreign Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, about India's preparedness in the face of second wave of COVID-19. We'll have an entrepreneur, managing director of Indus Gartex Private Limited from Jaipur. Managing Director Shyam Harsh talks to us about how industry is coping up with this challenge brought at their doorsteps by second waves of COVID-19. We'll also have Dr. Tushar Patel right here from New Jersey talking to us all about the situation where we are with respect to COVID-19 and what we should be careful about. So all this coming up right after these short messages. Stay with us. Welcome back. You are watching Vision of Asia, Voice of Community on ITV Gold, and today we begin with part of conversation by India's Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on the most important theme, India's preparedness. As world is watching and Indian American community members as well as India lovers are especially concerned about how India is going to bounce back after the attack of second wave of COVID-19. Many important lives are lost. Economy is also suffering. What are the steps that the government is taking? Dr. S. Jaishankar talked to Chairman and CEO of India Inc., Manoj Ladwa, about India's situation in the face of this challenge brought by second wave of COVID-19. Here are some parts of that important conversation.
Manoj, I think if people sitting here are reading, about India, looking at pictures, talking to their friends and relatives, they have reason to be concerned because the second wave, which we have experienced in the last few weeks, has been extremely severe. There's no comparison with the first wave. And I think people in the UK especially will understand it because they went through something very, very similar, the same intensity in at the end of the year, December, January, that period, if you remember, where actually, I guess it's the world today. At that time, we were watching in India and worrying about our relatives and friends in the UK. There were peak days at that time, when you had daily increases of 65,000 people out here. Now, something like that is really happening in a bigger country. And in fact, it's the same variant to a large extent, 117, which was so rampant here, so virulent here, which is also the case there. But we have a second one as well, what's called the double mutant, 1617. And between them, they've really, today, I think yesterday's daily increase was about 380,000, I think is my recollection. So things are very serious. And it's something at this time, very frankly, it's the all-consuming issue for us.
Yes, but Dr. Jaishankar, how do you respond to the accusations or the concerns that India has been somehow complacent in this second wave, and that your government has taken its eye off the ball?
Well, look, I don't think that is fair, either in terms of diagnosing the problem or really in assessing how the government has responded to it. And I'll tell you why. Manoj, I will walk you back to where we were 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Okay, end of February, we were looking at less than 10,000 cases a day. Yesterday's figure, as I told you, was 380,000. So it's kind of gone up 38 times. It tells you how much more virulent the virus is. And you get these graphs. I mean, this graph is like that. And just so that you really understand, the how fast this spread, how the challenges just in a sense exploded. A month at the end of March, if you took a parameter of districts which report 100 cases or more every day, these were about 75 districts. Within 1 month, these 75 districts became 450 districts, 456. Similarly, if you looked at the positivity rate, suppose you use 15% positivity rate, there were 40 plus districts, if my memory serves me right, reporting that at the end of March. Now, from 40 plus, it went up to 360. So you got to understand, really the intensity, the enormity, and you will understand, because that's exactly what, in a sense, UK went through at the end of the year. Now, did we take our eyes off the ball? Look, from the peak of the first wave was mid-September. Okay, after mid-September, we saw a kind of a decline. Now, even though there was a decline, again, let me walk back here a bit. What happened during the first wave, and the first wave also caught us unprepared. After all, nobody had foreseen a pandemic of this magnitude and intensity. But we scrambled in the first wave as a country, as a society, as people, to get our masks, our ventilators, our PPEs, our testing kits. That was the focus of the effort. And yes, it came at a great cost. I think the lockdown was a very painful decision. I still think it was a very effective decision at that point of time. But we had kind of over that summer, autumn of 2020, we had done what we could to deal with that particular wave. Now, what we saw as the year came to an end and we turned the year, there were still states where the sort of it had come down, but it was a kind of a long tail which really showed no signs of ending. Particularly Maharashtra, I think, was a state of concern. Kerala was a state of concern. So through I would say October, November, December, all the way actually till the second wave hit us, there were repeated advisories going out from the the public health specialists at the capital to states. There were meetings in the governance process, the cabinet secretary, the health secretary. There were actually teams which were sent out, public health teams. In fact, my recollection is between I would say September, October, and March. There were as many as 75 teams which went out to the states, and the teams were sent saying, "Look, folks, you got an issue. There's something we are picking up here, which is a concern." And along with that, actually, because of the concerns generated by the first wave, there was a big move really to ramp up oxygen production. And in fact, the government had authorized more than 1,200 oxygen plants. Money had been given to states because, in India, health is a state subject. So now the reality, unfortunately, was as numbers came down, there was a certain amount of, I would say, public confidence. Now, people, after all, wanted public confidence at that time because you wanted to revive the economy. If you look up the mood of the country, because today it's very easy to say, you should have seen that coming and kept up your guard all the time. But what was the mood of the country at the beginning of the year, which was to get the economy going, get normalcy back? Now, what happened though, which was as the numbers went down, the attempt to instill confidence, which was completely understandable, created the kind of societal complacency that I think all of us are part of. You
So,
know,
so
I I really can't think. You know, I mean, in a sense, to me today, this is genuinely not a blame game because when you say uh, sort of did we keep up our guard all the way? I don't think there's anybody honestly in the country who would say that we did. And understandably, because in February your numbers were 10,000.
While first wave of COVID-19 was a shocker and preemptive lockdown that was imposed made some people restless, yet there was the spirit of unity and people could make use of this time to be with their family members at home during the first lockdown period, and death rate was quite low. But this time things have reached an alarming proportion in India. Many people are scared. Indeed, the industry is also suffering. We talked to Managing Director of Indus Gartex Private Limited, Shyam Harsh from Jaipur, about how he looks at the whole scenario and where lies the ray of hope.
और स्थितियां भयावह इसलिए हुई अशोक जी कि सबसे बड़ा मीडिया में अभी आने लगा कि आज अगर मैं जाता हूं, मेरे को हल्की सी खांसी भी होती है या बुखार होता है, तो मैं अब इमीडिएटली जाऊंगा, अपना टेस्ट कराऊंगा। अगर वो पॉजिटिव आ गया तो मेरा सबसे पहले क्या आता है, अरे यार कौन से हॉस्पिटल में जाऊंगा, क्यों हॉस्पिटल सारे फुल्ड है, ऑक्सीजन की बहुत कमी आ रही है, और जो एक इंजेक्शन है वो बिल्कुल नहीं मिल रहा है। जो इंजेक्शन 3,000 का या 1,500 का था, वो 1-2 लाख रुपए में मिलना चालू हो गया, और ये चीजें मीडिया में भी आ रही है। और सबसे बड़ी चीज ये है कि जो मेरे नियर और डियर थे, मतलब मैं आपको उनका एज ग्रुप बताता हूँ, 35 to 45 की डेथ रेट बहुत ही ज्यादा हो रही है। पता लगता है उनको कोविड हो गया, वो हॉस्पिटलाइज्ड हुए, अरे यार वहां पे उनको ऑक्सीजन नहीं थी, और तीसरे दिन उनकी डेथ हो। अभी हालात ये हो गए कि अब कभी कभी हमारे यहाँ सीएम जो अशोक जी है, उन्होंने तो ये कहा है कि सर आप घर पे रहो, क्या पता ये स्ट्रेन जो है वो हवा में घूम रहा है, ये कोरोना, मतलब ये वायरस हवा में घूम रहा है। आप घर में भी बैठो तो मास्क लगा के बैठो या अलग कमरे में बैठो, मतलब स्थिति इस लेवल पे चली गई है हिंदुस्तान में।
तो श्याम जी, हालात बहुत ही भयावह हैं और यहाँ बैठकर भी जब न्यूयॉर्क से खबरें पढ़ रहे हैं तो ये पता करना मुश्किल हो रहा है कि सामान्य स्थिति कब कैसे आएगी। आप क्या अनुमान लगा सकते हैं, क्योंकि ऑक्सीजन की कमी के बारे में हर राज्य से सुन रहे हैं, राजस्थान भी उसका अपवाद नहीं है, और हॉस्पिटल में बेड्स नहीं है और तरह तरह की समस्याएं जो हैं वो विकराल रूप लेती दिखाई दे रही हैं। तो
सर सबसे बड़ी बात इसमें ये हो गई है कि आज मेरी वहां पे सीतापुर इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया में 2 फैक्ट्री है। मेरे यहाँ करीब दोनों फैक्ट्री मिला के 400, 450, 500 आदमी काम करते थे। हर एक आदमी की एक उम्मीद है। मेरी फैक्ट्री के अंदर मेरे एक एक्स एम्प्लॉय था, उसके कोरोना पॉजिटिव आया, उसके ब्रदर का फोन आया कि सर ऑक्सीजन नहीं मिल रहा है, आप कैसे ही करके मेरे को ऑक्सीजन दिलाते हैं। सर मैं अपनी इंडस्ट्री में जनरल सेक्रेटरी भी हूँ एक्सपोर्ट एसोसिएशन का, मैं दूसरी संस्थाओं के साथ भी जुड़ा हूँ। मैंने अपना पूरा का पूरा इन्फ्लुएंस लगा लिया, बहुत मुश्किल से दूसरे दिन में एक सिलेंडर उसको दे पाया। जब तक मैं उसको सिलेंडर प्रोवाइड करता, आप बिलीव नहीं करेंगे, मेरे पास में 4 से 5 ऐसे फोन आ गए। कोई कह रहा है सर मेरे को इंजेक्शन दिलवा दो, कोई कह रहा है सर मेरे को हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट करा दो। तो स्थिति मैं पहली बार अपना मतलब असहाय महसूस करने लगा कि यार इतने साल 30 साल हो गए मेरे को जयपुर में रहते हुए, क्या मैं अपने एक्स एम्प्लॉय या मैं अपने किसी नियर डियर को एक सिलेंडर या एक हॉस्पिटल मेडिसिन नहीं दिला सकता? सबसे बड़ी स्थिति ये हुई है सर, इतना ज्यादा डर मैंने पहले कभी भी नहीं देखा आज तक अपने। इतना बड़ा मैं आज 50 प्लस का हो गया, मैंने आज तक अपनी लाइफ में इतना डर नहीं देखा। मैं खुद सड़क पे जाता हुआ डरा महसूस करता हूँ, पता नहीं यार कल को हल्का सा भी मेरे को कोरोना पॉजिटिव हो गया तो कौन सा हॉस्पिटल मेरे को एडमिट करेगा, मेरे साथ कौन खड़ा होगा, और कल को मेरे को कुछ हो गया तो मेरे परिवार के साथ कौन होगा। हर आदमी, चाहे वो गरीब तबके का हो और वो चाहे अमीर हो, और सबसे ज्यादा इफेक्ट अब के जो आया है सर, वो अपर मिडल, मिडल और लोअर मिडल के ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा इफेक्ट आया। वैसे तो हाई क्लास, और जो अभी पता लगा कि बिहार के चीफ सेक्रेटरी थे उनकी भी कोरोना में डेथ हो गई। अगर इस लेवल के आदमियों की डेथ हो रही है तो आम आदमी वो ऑक्सीजन के लिए मारा मारा फिर रहा है, वो इंजेक्शन के लिए मारा मारा फिर रहा है। इंडस्ट्री हम चला रहे हैं अपने आप को उसके बताने के लिए, सोशल वो देने के लिए कि नहीं इंडस्ट्रिया देखो चालू है, कुछ नहीं होगा। ये चीज ये भी है जो महीने भर में, 1 महीने में, 2 महीने में चली जाएगी, लेकिन इसका इफेक्ट सर फाइनेंशियली भी बहुत बुरी तरह से आया है। गवर्नमेंट ने अभी तक, चाहे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट हो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हो, उन्होंने लॉकडाउन तो कर दिया। पिछली बार लॉकडाउन के साथ आपको उन्होंने कहा कि आपको मोरेटोरियम की स्कीम दे दी, आपको दूसरी स्कीम दे दी। अब वो गवर्नमेंट ने सब पल्ला झाड़ लिया। वो कैसा इंडस्ट्रिया चलाओ, आप जानो और आपका काम जाने, लेबर इधर उधर नहीं जानी चाहिए। आपका माल बिके तो ठीक है, नहीं बिके तो ठीक है। अब बिकेगा कहाँ सर, मार्केट तो पूरा बंद है। हम ये जो भी अगर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहे हैं तो हम किसके लिए करें? हमारे ऑर्डर सारे होल्ड हो गए, हमारे ऑर्डर सारे कैंसिल हो गए, और लेबर पहली बार 10 से 20% लेबर के ऊपर फैक्ट्रियां आ गई। तो स्थिति इस तरह की बिगड़ती जा रही है। अगर हम ऊपर वाले पे विश्वास करके, अगर मैं कहता हूँ एज ए इंडियन, हम सब गॉड फेयरिंग आदमी है, गॉड पे विश्वास करने वाले आदमी, भगवान पे, तो हमको लगेगा कि यार ये दौर भी निकले है। जब पिछला दौर भी निकला है तो ये दौर भी निकले।
श्याम जी, मुझे लगता है यहीं पर आशा का एक श्रद्धा के साथ में जो पतली सी लकीर है उसको पकड़ कर ही हम आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, और वो आप कर रहे हैं। मैं आपकी सराहना, आपके साहस की, आपकी कटिबद्धता की करते हुए, हमारे साथ जुड़कर ये जो आपने स्थिति को इतना खुलकर हम तक पहुंचाया, उसके लिए आपका मैं आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूँ। और चलते चलते कोई बात आपके साथ जुड़े हुए जो एनआरआईज हैं उनको कहना चाहें, या कोई एज एंटरप्रेन्योर ऐसी बात है जो आपको लगता है कि और एंटरप्रेन्योर्स आपसे सुने इस समय?
देखो सर, अभी तो एज ए एंटरप्रेन्योर अगर मैं कहूँ तो ये एक ऐसा दौर है कि हमको लेबर के साथ भी खड़ा होना है और हमको हमारी सरकार के साथ भी खड़ा होना है, क्योंकि हम वो कड़ी है एंटरप्रेन्योर एमएसएमई यूनिट, एक वो कड़ी है जो देश के डेवलपमेंट का मेन पार्ट है। वो आपके साथ लेबर को भी जोड़ती है और टैक्स के रूप में वो सरकार को रेवेन्यू भी देती है। तो अभी अगर हम नेगेटिव सोचे तो हमारे पास सोचने के बहुत सारे तरीके हैं, क्योंकि अभी पूरा का पूरा हिंदुस्तान एक नेगेटिव दौर से गुजर रहा है। तो अब उसको तो मैं कम करते हुए मैं यही कहना चाहता हूँ, अपने एंटरप्रेन्योर भाइयों को भी कहना चाहता हूँ कि ये समय है, ये भी बीतेगा। जब हमने पहले जो कोविड का जो पहला टाइम था उसको स्पिरिचुअली अपना आप को जानकर निकाला है, तो थोड़ा सा हम और प्रयास करेंगे तो ये समय भी निकलेगा और वापस व्यापार इस तरह से बढ़ेगा, क्योंकि मार्केट वापस खुलेगा तो हर आदमी को ये लगेगा कि नहीं हमको देश के अंदर भागीदारी करनी है। हर आदमी जी जान से लगेगा, तो जब जी जान से लगेगा तो मार्केट अपना आप ही ओपन होगा। और एक चीज हम नहीं भूल सकते हैं कि चाइना के बाद हिंदुस्तान सेकंड लार्जेस्ट मार्केट है, जो कभी भी घर में बैठ नहीं सकता, उसको तो लेना है, चाहे वो परचेज के रूप में हो, चाहे वो कंस्ट्रक्शन के रूप में हो, चाहे किसी भी रूप में हो। हाँ, ये दौर एक है जो निराशावादी दौर है, लेकिन आशा के साथ मैं यही वो कर रहा हूँ आप लोगों से कि ये दौर भी निकलेगा और बहुत ही जल्द निकलेगा। अगर अपन इसको पॉजिटिव लेते हैं तो कल ही आज ही पेपर में आया कि जयपुर के अंदर 110% रिकवरी रेट बढ़ी है पिछले वीक के मुकाबले। तो मैं अपना आपको ये पॉजिटिव करेक्ट हो सकता है 15 से 20 तारीख के बीच में या अप्रैल मई के लास्ट के अंदर हम इस चीज से वापस निकल सकते हैं।
Welcome back. You are watching Vision of Asia Voice of Community on ITV Gold, and this program comes to you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays at 8 p.m. on ITV Gold. And we have our special weekly edition of Vision of Asia every Sunday at 11 a.m. specially for you. We appreciate your continued patronage, support, and love. Stay safe. Thanks for staying with us. We'll be right back after these short messages. While here in this part of the world, in New York, New Jersey area, we are feeling better, and administration has declared gradually they are going to relax the protocol which was in place due to COVID-19. At public places, if you are alone by yourself, you can walk without your mask, and yet there are some precautions that should probably be observed. And what is the overall impact and the preparedness that one physician would expect from us? Dr. Tushar Patel talked to Aditi Lamba about COVID-19. Here are some excerpts.
How are you looking at South Asians right now that are living in this country, especially the ones at high risk? Are they still under threat with COVID?
Absolutely. The minority communities, the South Asians, the Hispanics, and the African American, those who don't know their medical status, they may have a cardiac condition, they may have diabetes, they may have many other chronic medical conditions. They are at high risk of getting COVID-19 infection. Even after getting the vaccine, the chances are getting after the vaccine is pretty low, but the variant can definitely hurt them. So they all need to be very careful, and that is my biggest concern right now in the US.
Do you think those people should wear more masks?
I think those people should avoid going in the public places if at all possible. They can do small gatherings with their immediate family, with their loved ones, with their known friends who are vaccinated, but avoid big gatherings overall, in my opinion.
And finally, what is your prediction for the rest of the month? There are a lot of states easing restrictions. How is that going to affect cases and deaths?
So I think if the cases are increasing and if you're getting more people vaccinated, and my sincere guess is if we get about 70% people vaccinated by end of July, I think we will be in good shape, and we don't have to worry about this fourth or fifth wave coming in the US. But if we are at the plateau right now in the US as far as the vaccinations, we are under 200,000 vaccine every day. I think we reached 350,000 at one point. Now it's only 200,000. So we are at plateau. We need to increase that number. Our community, the local government, the state government needs to ensure that they call people. They go to people's house to get them vaccinated. The temples, the churches, all those places needs to be used to get people vaccinated as quickly as possible within next 2 months.
Time to say goodbye from today's Vision of Asia, a voice of the community. We appreciate your presence with us, and it's time to also remember that you could enjoy some of our important programming on our Facebook page. So be friends with ITV Gold's Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also keep writing events@itvgold.com with information and details of the events. Once again, your presence means a lot, and we appreciate your love. Stay safe. Thanks for being with us. This is Ashok Vyas. Namaste.